Welcome back to Silica Valley. My name is Andy Wilson. It's my pleasure to see you here again. Today we are talking about ice hacking. Now, there are really two topics under discussion, neither of which are how to make clear ice. Now, I do make clear ice, but that's not what this is about. We'll get a mention later on, though. No, when we say ice hacking, we're talking about one of my most recent acquisitions, this. This is my ice pick. There are others like it, but this one is mine. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I bought this. The first big reason is because this particular ice pick is dual purpose. It's got a pointy stabby end, and it's also got a nice sharp blade along the bottom there, and it's a good, strong, durable and non-flexible steel as well. The second reason I bought this particular one is because it looks like a samurai sword. Now, ice can be an awkward commodity. If you are just having drinks for yourselves, or you've got a couple of friends around and you've got an American style fridge with the ice dispenser, that'll normally take care of business for the entire evening, no problem at all. But if there's a few more, more than four people, well, that fridge is going to come under some pressure, especially if you're making cocktails and things. So there's two common solutions for this, of course. If you've got this American style fridge, you can simply go to the ice bin, empty out the ice bin. This is a few days in advance. Empty out the ice bin into a bag, put that back in the freezer and let it refill and repeat until you've got the amount of free ice that you need. So that's solution number one, and that's great. If you're not able to do that because, I don't know, too busy, too lazy, whatever, then we can go to the shop and we can pick up some ice at most shops now. We can just pick up some ice, come in 5 kilo bags or something like that. And they're fantastic. If we're having a do and there's maybe 20 people coming, something like that, I've got a large cooler. I go down the shop, I buy probably 6 bags of ice and just leave them in the cooler, and they'll get used throughout the day and evening. So that's fantastic. But there's a problem, and the problem is with any ice, if it's stored in certain conditions, the temperatures change and the ice clumps together. The surface melts and then it refreezes and it ends up clumped together. So that's where this little fella really comes into its own, because using the stabby end, I can just get into that ice and I can break it up and manage it into manageable chunks, which is fabulous. Now you've got to be careful of two things. Obviously, it's a sharp point and it's a sharp edge, so be careful and make sure nobody's got their hands in there. But also, if you're too enthusiastic with a cooler, you'll put a hole in the bottom of your cooler as well, so just watch out. But yeah, it's fantastic for turning that big clump of ice into something manageable that can go in your ice bucket and you can use. So that's the pointy end. What about the blade, which on this particular one is surprisingly sharp and surprisingly robust? Well, I'll show you how sharp it is. It could cut through a lime. I don't recommend that, but it certainly could. I do recommend it for shaving bigger ice blocks into smaller ones to fit into your favourite glass. I've mentioned already that I make clear ice at home. That's a pretty straightforward topic. It's covered in many, many videos. So I can make the clear ice, that's fine, but carving it's a bit of a problem. I haven't quite mastered the art of turning this great big hunk of clear ice into beautifully shaped cubes. So inevitably I end up with fairly irregular shaped, some larger than others, cubes of clear ice. Now I don't always need clear ice. I wouldn't use it for a regular sort of vodka and coke or something like that. But if I'm making a beautiful old fashioned, then I want a nice lump of clear ice, don't I? And so I can take my irregular shaped ice cubes, my lovely clear ice cubes, and using the shaver, I can get them down into a shape which works for the glass that I'm serving it in. So that's a fantastic use for this particular item. But my favourite ice hack is to do with my fridge. Now, this is an LG fridge, and if we just look up and in, you can see a tray at the top here, and that contains what they call craft ice. This fridge is capable of producing up to 3 craft ice balls per 24 hours. And all I do is, if I'm running low on the craft ice balls, I use the app to turn on the function, let it run for a few days, and then turn it back off again. Because I don't always need this craft ice. But it's really, really handy. One of the really good uses for these big ice balls is that when you're making a cocktail using your favorite Boston shaker, I usually put a handful of regular ice in there together with one of these craft balls. They're very heavy, they're big, bigger than a regular ice cube, and they really get the action going inside the cocktail shaker. It's a massive help, especially if you're doing something like a French martini and you want a nice foam on the top, or an espresso martini. This combination of ice will really get you the foam that you're looking for. So it's fantastic for adding weight to your regular cocktail shaking. But my favourite thing to do with the craft ice is that if you look at it, it's almost clear. It's almost clear. And at the bottom, just all the impurities have collected right at the bottom. So this is a fantastic opportunity to use the blade to shave off those impurities. And I can pop it in this cooler here and then shave off another one, pop that in the cooler as well. And now I've got a little collection of lovely clear ice balls that I can use in drinks. Just pop it in the old gin and tonic if I'm trying to impress my friends, and Bob's your uncle. So that's it for today's video. Just a couple of ways that I hack ice. Why don't you let me know how you hack ice in the comments below. In the meantime, I really appreciate you watching to the end, and we'll see you next time on Silica Valley. Cheers.